Okay, welcome to the weekly meeting, March 15th, 2025. Um, okay, so we're just talking about managing a swing position, and you can't manage the position at on the same time frame that you entered the position on. So you need to pick, and for me, the 18-hour is pretty decent. If you don't have these extended time frames or these made up time frames, just use the daily, right? The daily is fine. Maybe you're moving your stop loss or your hedge. Maybe you're moving it a little later, but that's fine because at the end of the day, um, this trade will push through and go to our area. We just don't want to be in a rush to start shifting and moving our stop loss because there is some turbulence, right? There's an order block here. Price isn't just going to bust through here and keep going. You're going to get some bouncing around the same way that we hit these order blocks on the lower time frames and bounced. You're not just going to bust through here. So it's going to get ugly before the smooth drop happens. So be patient and let your trade work. We done the hard part. We got in the trade. Uh, you puckered up and your hedge or your stop loss didn't get hit. Now there's plenty of space. Um, you're over 200 pips into the trade, or let's call it 194 into the trade. Um, just allow the trade to do the work. I know a couple of people already ended up getting kicked out of the trade, but if you look at this, when the trade pulls back, it's going to give you another opportunity to enter. Um, if you already have two positions, I probably wouldn't enter again. I mean, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying me personally, I don't have the need to enter again, especially not here. Maybe if we get a bounce a little bit further down, then I'll look at entering again. But I'm not entering Sunday or Monday whenever we get this pullback. I'm not entering. I have two positions. I'll wait. Um, And generally speaking, you only really need if you get two positions, you're gonna make plenty of money because the move is plenty long, right? Let's just if you're 150 pips into this move, you still have 430 pips uh, to go. An estimated 430 pips. Uh, if you only trust it down to this gap, you got 370 pips, and you're over 150 pips in. So just understand you're on the right side of the move, and all you have to do is uh, have a little patience. Do you guys have any questions, especially for you guys that are in the trade? Now is the time to ask because I know that I know a few people get a little jittery. Okay, so and since y'all don't have any questions, I'm going to ask some questions. Is that all right? Can I ask some questions? I don't want y'all to get all like bent out of shape. Hey, Shia, are you available? Can I ask you a question?
Hi, Todd.
How you doing,
It's
Shia?
the easy question, yes.
Well, if I don't ask, I don't know your level of understanding. Uh,
Okay.
First of all, are you in the trade?
I'm not. No.
Okay. Do you understand why I called the trade?
I'm just kind of hopping on the call, so I'm trying to catch up. So I'll say no, but I'm watching.
Okay, but so I get it. And this is the reason why I ask you. I know we meet in a different group normally,
Yes.
but you're in the 100 tip group as well. So um, I when I drop those videos,
Yes.
are you able to follow along with what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Um, that's really all I want to kind of check your understanding because if you can follow along, then I think most other people uh, in the group can follow along.
Yeah,
Um,
you're a good teacher. Thank you.
oh, gracias. All right. So uh, Sade, Sade,
Hello,
how you doing, Sade?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Are
Um,
you still in Colombia?
I'm not there yet. I don't leave until the 30th.
Oh, okay.
So this EN trait,
Hmm.
did you take EN?
Yes, I did.
Are you still in the trade?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you're not the only one.
Sorry.
I say you're not the only one. Why did you get out?
Mm. Because I kept it into I put my stop loss at the imbalance that was at let me tell you, hold on one second.
It
Mm.
was a 1 hour imbalance, maybe
There was an imbalance at 89417.
9-4.
So it sold to that and then um yeah, so my stop loss was set there. So I came out. It came out automatically. And then
Nine.
I think after that it rose a
I don't,
bit.
so the initial drop you made,
I
and
didn't join in like initially when you guys
you didn't.
joined.
So maybe you
No.
joined in on this drop.
Yeah.
And then when it came back up and cleared
Yeah.
these old Asian highs.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I get it's a lot of if you're a swing trader and especially with these EA or EN, um, these swings are crazy. Like 129 pips, 130 pips uh, in 3 hours, right? It pulled back up just to clear the Asian high so we can keep going lower. Uh, then it created this imbalance that we're probably going to trade back up to um, Sunday to pull down. This is the reason that we can't move our stops or our hedges until after we break the level of structure. So on a lower time frame, if you're managing this trade on a lower time frame, once you get this structure break here, once it broke down and pulled back and it didn't violate this high, and we came back down and broke this low, maybe you move your stop loss to this level, and you just keep following it down. Um, the only problem with doing that is uh, when the daily pulls back, like this might have been a 4 hour pullback. If the daily pulls back, it might break this high and respect this high, or break this high and respect this high. So it might come all the way back up here to this imbalance before it keeps pushing down. So if you know you have a runway of 500 or 600 pips, you know you're chasing 500 or 600 pips. We got to get out of the mindset, the scarcity mindset of moving our stops. You know, uh, whenever we saw this order block, we see this order block, we should always expect bounces, right? When trades are trying to get through these order blocks, we got to understand that when we push down and hit it, it's going to pull back. So let's give our trade a little grace and a little space to pull back without taking us out of the trade. And the reason why this is so important is because, yeah, if you make those 100 pips, it's no, I mean, I can't knock that. You made 100 pips in a week. That was the goal. This was just an opportunity to actually ride a trade and sit in a trade because it offered um, such a vast amount of pips, right? And then after we ride it down, it also gives us an opportunity to sit in it as it turns around and then starts taking off. Once it takes off, we can just hold this trade. You know, I mean, it might go up 1,000 pips. If you look at the swings of these moves, uh, from when EA first started buying, you know, that's 965. So if it pulls back 500 or 600 pips, this next leg is probably going to be close to 1,000 pips. So we're in the trade, guys. Like all we have to do is sit and wait. And now we have an opportunity to let time do our job instead of us trying to find a trade to get in. Um, we can just sit, you know. That's one of the more advantageous positions to be in because while we're sitting in the trade, other people are losing trades, because they're getting in and out or, whatever. I mean, we've been on the losing end of many trades, but we don't have to worry about being on the losing end of any trades if we're just sitting in a trade, you know. So if you were in a part of this up move, which we weren't, I mean, it's like 13 green candles. So if you got in at this daily order block level and you had your stop loss under that wick and you just let that trade go, it never even came back to challenge your stop loss and it just kept pushing out. And you got all these green days. So even on this red day, it never came back and took out the low of the previous day. So on that entire move up, you had the luxury of just chilling. And if you would just use your daily candle, this pullback finally went below this daily candle, which maybe could have taken you out or given you a clue that it's time to get out of that trade. So we have to just trust and allow the trade to develop and kind of get out of our own head because you're in the trade. You did the hard part. And you got in the trade, you have your stop set. You don't have to move it. Just allow that trade to bake, man, and enjoy the fact that you're going to be making the money down to your TP area, right? Um, and then when we get down here, uh, before it hits our TP, I'll kind of give you an option of of killing your TP and just setting a buy limit here. So once it hits here, you're in a buy and a sell as it turns around. And then once it actually starts breaking structure, going north, then you can just kill the sell, but you're in the buy. So there's a number of ways that we can actually play this and manage the swing. But you have to kind of let the trade play out and don't act on your own. Like I'm going to walk you through it the way that I normally do it, but you have to trust the process. And I know it's a little scary sometimes when you get the big swings, but we got good entries. All right. Anybody got any questions? If you taken EA or GA, uh, it's the same. It's the same thing. Same setup. Just different trade, right? And when I look at this daily, if I put my little structure break here, all right, so the trade will at least come to this area. Uh, there's a structure breakdown here, so it may come down here. To me, um, I like the EN setup better, but it doesn't matter. This is still plenty of pips. It's plenty to look at. Just down to the structure break, 400 pips. If it goes further, it's more. But the point is, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to ride your trade down, uh, set you a buy, hopefully a buy limit down in this area. And you don't have to kill your sell trade because you're in a hedge. If it keeps pushing down, that's cool. Because once it turns around and gives you that chop move, now you can kill your sell and you can just ride the buy up. Um, I think that's it in a nutshell. I know that it always sounds simple, but when you actually start trading it, with your emotions and your kind of your lack of trust and your lack of understanding for yourself, it all adds a level of risk. But what I would say is, if you're unsure, ask, because that's the only way you're gonna kind of get past that initial level of fear. All right, what are the issues or the questions? Did you guys have a chance to look at the charts for next week?
I do have a question. For this in particular, I'm not looking at the actual chart. So, for this one, was this a weekly imbalance right here? Like, where did you get this from?
So are we talking about Ian or
Well, this one right here, this chart right here.
okay,
Because I
EA?
think this is where I was having trouble. Like, I'm only looking at the breakup structure, like when there's a huge green candle, and then that's where I'm putting my Fibonacci right there. But see, with this chart here, you just, I guess, okay, so you saw the 3 week and then that's how you did it. Okay, okay,
Yep. 3 week. I fibbed it. I got my
okay,
zone. And
got you. Okay, thank you.
all right. So to me, all right, and I get it. This is maybe a little bit unorthodox for people who are newer uh to the group. My edge over the market is that I can use the higher time frames, right? The regular price action, because if I'm on the 2 minute chart, I expect the same thing to happen, right? Uh, if I'm on the 2 minute chart and we get a break of structure right here, the market is going to come back to that break of structure and go. My edge is I can take the same thought process and lay it across a higher time frame and get the same action, right? So it might take a little bit longer to happen or a little bit longer to develop, but the pip count is significantly higher. Um, so that's the advantage. The only bad part about that is you have to be able to hold your trade and allow time to take its course. And what I try to get people to understand, if you're going to trade this method, you want to get in the habit of always using the highest candle close, right? So we could use the 1 week because we have a weekly candle close, but it's to our advantage to use the 2 week because the 2 week close also it's going to give us more information, right? We're already in these trades, and we already analyzed EA, GA, EN, and GN. So I'm not looking at that. But if I'm if I miss this trade and I'm looking for a different trade, now there's a order block on EJ, there's an order block on GJ. Um, there are other trades that might provide uh, opportunities based on a fresh candle closure, right? Bullish order block. So if you're able to understand um, to use your higher time frames, right? To use the higher time frame candles that just close, whether it's the 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, the monthly. If you're using those time frames, you're always going to have an edge because you have the highest time frame information, and you know that we're pulling back to this area. The only thing that we don't control is when it pulls back, right? So let me show you an example. GBP AUD. Okay, we had a 3 week order block um, for this candle a week ago, right? This is a week worth of trading. Now on this 3 week, what I expected was the market to open. I wanted to see this high taken out, and then I wanted the price to trade back into the zone. Well, what happened was the market gapped down, so we opened lower, and we had to trade higher. So many people got lost in the trade up. Hey, that's 186 pips. Todd, I thought you said it was selling. Bruh, patience. Patience. And here's what I've learned to do. I don't care. If it starts buying, I don't care. I'm not interested in that buy. I don't care. 200 pips. I don't care. What I'm interested in when it turns around. And what I've learned over time is it can buy, but once I get the bearish order block on that daily time frame, it's on and popping. Like if you're ever confused, you're expecting it to buy up to sell down. You got to understand that where your advantage is on this 3-week chart is even if this daily bearish order block is 250 pips, right? If that daily bearish order block goes from here to here, you still you still have 323 pips to the zone, 446 pips to your 60 62 or whatever, 65, whatever, whichever one you're using. And you got the opportunity to trade it back in the direction that the actual market is going. So your edge over the market is, hey, I'm using a higher time frame. And even after you give me a big time signal that you're going my direction, I can wait you out, right? This is the same action that people who trade on the lower time frames use on the lower time frames. The only difference is they have to act faster because the pip count is much lower. So if you're trading a 15-minute time frame, you get an order block and you're trading it back to the order block to trade away, maybe you don't trade it back to the order. Maybe on this 15-minute, there's only a 10 pip drop and then there's a 30 pip up move. Well, in this case, you got a 400 pip drop and maybe 1,000 pip up move. So your edge is you have a lot longer to act on your trade. And over time, you're just going to get better at your entries and you're going to get better at taking advantage of these trades. So whereas you might be waiting on a daily bearish order block initially, at some point you're going to understand, hey man, this 4 hour this 4 hour order block right here, I could actually get in and catch this whole move down because I understand that this is going to give us a daily bearish order block. The market came up here, right? Gave you a double top and then a push down. This push down broke these lows. So in most of us, if we're expecting to sell, when it pushed down and pulled back, bro, it's on and popping. Now I know I can hop in for the sell. And basically, time and price is always going to give you an entry. This entry would have been 1,700. I would have never taken it because it's Asian. But if you were looking for that entry, you could have caught that entry for that sell down. And you could have caught that initial sell down. Now you're expecting a buy back up, right? Probably to that imbalance for a sell. So you could have caught that initial sell. Maybe you catch the buy back up, and then you're selling it down for good. There are 1,000 different ways to skin the cat once you kind of understand what you're looking for, right? Um, and even if you don't, now that you have your daily bearish order block, everybody knows how to fill that candle, drop to the 1 hour, find your imbalance. You can either trade it back up or you can wait until it comes back up to catch your sell. And now you know that your sell down is coming to that imbalance right there, right? It might come to this imbalance, but you know it's going to this imbalance. So now you can catch you a sell for 460 pips. It's easier to wait until you get your for sure signal, especially as a newer person. It's harder to anticipate the move. So if you just wait, you're going to have the advantage because the 3-week candle already told you, hey man, we got to pull back to this area. So you're just waiting on a for sure, a solid signal that the trade is taking you there. All right. Any other questions?
Hey, Todd, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
It's looking like that's going to be the same thing for GN when it comes to the like when you look at GN. I'm sorry, not GN, EN on the weekly time frame.
Uh-huh.
Like you still got that like it's like 360 pips,
Hmm.
but it's mainly just wick, right?
Hmm.
So thinking we do the same thing, just mark it up on like a 2 week candle.
You don't need to mark it up you've marked it up. This is a 3 week candle. You don't need to mark anything else up on the 2 week candle. You have all you need. You have your zone. You have your gap. Um, you have the area where the market is coming. If you've got out, did you get out of your initial trade?
I was remember my phone got damaged. I didn't have a phone for like 10
Okay.
days.
So all you have to do now, you have the daily bearish order block. Analyze this order block.
Okay.
We're going to buy up. You get your entry, and we'll sell down. Anybody who is not in this trade or who got out, moving your stop loss, you got another opportunity to enter. This is a daily bearish order block. Do your analysis on it. When the pair buys up, let me go to this 1 hour. All right, when it buys up to this gap, maybe your entry is in this gap. Maybe this happens at a London session, or maybe this happens on Asian session on Sunday. I don't know. Um, but when it buys up to this gap, you get your entry, put your stop loss above that high, and now you're riding it down. But what I would tell you is when you have your stop or your hedge, don't move it. Right? Don't move it because you see this order block right here.
Mhm.
So the price is going to come down and hit it, and it's bouncing, bro. Like it's going to bounce. It's not just going to blast through here. So just expect for that to happen. Or what could happen is the market open up, we sell down into it, and then buy up. Like this green candle, that's what happened. We sold down and then we bought up. So this could be the same thing. The market could open, we can sell down, and then buy up, and we can finish with a green candle. And then the next day, the market sells down.
Mhm.
So there are a couple different options. But as a trader, that doesn't change the way that you approach or you enter the trade. Once it hits your area, your entry area, you're in the trade.
Mhm.
Now you've done everything you had to do because you have a hedge or a stop loss and you have your TP. What gets people in trouble is they try to add more positions. Oh man, no, don't. Your entry is here. Let your entry, that's where you add. And then you wait. There's plenty of opportunity to add as the chart gives you those entries. We entered on this candle. We added on this candle. Now we got another bearish order OB. So if it pulls back, that might be another opportunity to add. But you're not making it up. You're not just adding because it's dropping. A lot of people see this 100 pip candle or whatever, 145 pip candle, and they want to add as it drops. That's what gets people killed because what they don't understand is it's still got to retrace. So when they retrace, if you've added along this drop, just um, indiscriminately, when it starts pulling back, it's going to eat your account up. So if you're only adding when you're supposed to, and that's why you manage your trade on a higher time frame, then those pullbacks don't hurt you. They might frustrate you, but they don't hurt you as far as your account and drawdown.
Totally, I agree. I agree.
All right. Any other questions?
So Todd, for the search, so basically for the search of the order block, we're waiting for a consecutive amount of green candles or red candles. And then that is giving us our aha moment to search for the order block.
Yeah.
And then we search through the different time frames to find that order block. And then that's where we do our analysis, we fib, and then we stick on that time frame and then jump to a lower time frame to find our entry to get in to it on the time frame that we found that order block. Is that basically what's going on?
No. Let me explain this. For all the pairs, uh, I know like when the weekly candle, every week we get a weekly candle closure, right?
Mhm.
The only question is, do we get a 2 week? Like, do you have the paid for? You do have the pay. You got the crazy.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, yeah. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna look. Do we have a 2 week candle closure too? And this week we did. But if you looked at the 3 week, you're gonna notice we got 13 days. So that's out. I don't have to look at the 3 week because it's still running. So the 2 week was the highest available candle closure. On the monthly, we got 16 days. You see what I'm saying? So all
Oh,
you're
okay.
all you're worried about is what's the highest candle that's closing. The 2 week is. So you're gonna know at the beginning of the week which candles are closing. So for next week, when we get a candle closure, it's not going to be the 2 week closure. It's not going to be the 3 week closure. It's only going to be the 1 week. So you're going to be monitoring at the end of next week the 1 week candle. This
Okay.
this week, because I knew the 2 week candle was going to close, all I had to do was go and look at which gave me the order blocks on a 2 week time frame. Not that one, not that one, not that
Oh,
one.
so that's how you search for it. So you're just finding the candle that closed, and then you say, okay, 2 week is closing, and then you search through all the
Yes.
currencies, or you just search through everything to find a good 2 hour order block.
Yeah, this is a 2 week order block right here. Small green candle,
Hmm.
displacement. I would fib that, get my zone. Okay, I know the dollar is going to buy and then it's going to sell. There's an imbalance there. Like all of it works, right? So I would just mark this like this. And I know this week if on my list, I got red markings. These are the ones that are going to give me the move. That was last week. That was last week. So all I'm doing is going down my list, Euro Chef. Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, I think that's where I was getting it wrong because I found one on the 22 hour. I found an order block, but I didn't think to look and see if the candle closed. I just saw order block on like the 22 hour and was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fib it, but I didn't check to see if it closed. So okay,
Yeah.
that's what I needed to know.
You have that they have to close because
Right,
you can't work with something that's moving.
right. Okay.
And I like the 22-hour thing. I don't know why would you look at a 22 hour just because?
Because I thought because I was looking and thinking like, okay, how is he finding the order block? So I'm looking for a group of consecutive candles. So if I see two or three, 4 or 5 green candles going up, that's my aha moment to say, okay, this is something I need to look into. So I'm looking at into the time frames. I'm starting at like 23, 22, 21, and I'm searching down and then I say, okay,
Okay, I'm sorry.
22,
I'm
I'm
glad you
seeing an
I'm
order
glad you
block.
said that. Hey, Kimmy, you supposed to get on one-on-one with me the other day.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to do, but I've been busy. But yeah, I didn't. I found a couple on the 22 hour order block, and then I'm like, okay, great. So I fibbed it and everything, but I didn't even think to look at it and see if it closed. And I think that's what I was missing is to see if it closed for me to be able to freely use it. So now I have to go back in my charts and see if that 22 order block is good.
Yeah, and what I would tell you is the 22 hour is cool. But if you're using the weekly, um, it's going to give you a higher pip count. My only
Right.
my only advantage over this market is the fact that I can use this candle to give me a higher pip count. That's what keeps me in the game. Uh, and if I didn't have this advantage, I would have to go down there to the 4 hour and the 1 hour and fight all that chop to try to collect my pips.
Hmm.
The thing that gives me the advantage that keeps me calm is that, hey man, I know that this trade is going to go 200 or 300 pips. All I have to do is get in the trade and wait. And I don't have a problem with getting in the trade and waiting, right?
Hmm.
Because the chop doesn't bother me once I'm in the trade because I already know where I should enter and I know where I'm putting my hedge and I'm cool. I don't care if it takes 4 days. I know that this week I'm getting my 100 pips. That's how
Right.
I approach the market. And
Okay.
sometimes it can happen in like 6 hours. I can get 115 pips. And other times it's going to be 2 days and it'll go back and forth. But I'm to the point in my trading journey where I don't care about that time. I worked for the railroad. I got paid every 30 days. You know what I'm saying? So it
Hmm.
doesn't bother me that I have to wait 4 days or 6 days. But the
Okay.
advantage that we have is we wait for the higher time frame to close, and then we do our analysis on the higher time frame, and we get the longer move.
Okay. I think that's where I was trying to figure out the search of the order blocks, and that's how I was doing it. But I think the close of the order block is really going to help because I didn't even think of that.
Okay, cool.
Can we go over GN?
GN.
I have a question. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just trying to learn the higher time frame too with the sorry my voice is gone, but uh the like we were talking about just now, the 2 week and the monthly and stuff, 'cause-
Okay. Hold on.
so that I can see better like how to um
Okay. Hold on.
catch.
Hold on. Baby,
Yes.
this is your job right here. Marking these. You see that? Huh?
Yeah.
Gracias, more.
Okay, baby.
Okay, GN.
Uh,
I gotta see which one of these. I can't see the other half. All right, GN. Okay, cool. Okay, what time frame? 3 week?
yeah, is that where we start? Is that where you started initially, the 3 week?
Well, I did. So last week we got the 3 week candle closure, right?
Last week we got the 3 week candle closure.
Yeah. So if I put these two candles together, that's a bullish OB. So all I did was fib this green candle, and I expect the market to
Wait, how did we get a 3 week candle closure last week? On the 8th, March 8th?
March 8th. This candle is finished. So if you look at this candle right here, if you look at the time frame, we got 13 days. So when these candles open up, 3 weeks is 21 days, right?
Huh?
Okay.
Uh,
Now you see it at the end of last week, this candle's closed. You see that?
okay.
You either see it or you don't. You keep saying okay. I'm asking if you see the fact that
I see that there's nothing there left. There's no time frame left.
there's nothing there because it's closed. If I hit play, now I'm playing
Now it says.
I'm playing this out and it's finished. We got 13 days and 6 hours left on this candle. That's another
But
two
why wouldn't a 3 week be on the third week of the month?
because it it doesn't work
Why is it on the first week of the month?
because it runs it doesn't pay attention to the month. It pays attention to every week. It started at some point, and every 3 weeks it's going to close. It doesn't
Oh, okay, that's why I was thrown off. Okay.
it doesn't have to jive with the month.
Okay. I got you. Don't laugh at me.
Oh my God. Oh, where is Misha? Where is Misha? I need Misha to smack you in the back of the head. All
Oh
right,
my God.
so now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, and I think that
So why did you do the 3 week instead of the 2 week?
well, okay. Which one is higher?
3.
Okay, so I did the analysis for the 3 week. There's no need for me to come back this week because the 2 week candle closed. It's not telling me anything different. Can you analyze this 2 week wick right here?
It's saying it's looking like it's pulling back into the order block, the 2 week order block.
Yeah, it's going to come down here. At the end of the day,
But you just got it earlier because of the higher time frame on the 3 week. That's what you see.
yes, I agree. And if we're just thinking about how to trade this, right?
Yeah.
All right, this is an imbalance from this 2 week candle wick to this 2 week candle wick. So if we're going higher, don't you expect price to pull down? It doesn't have to touch wick to wick. It doesn't have to. But in this case, we have
Yeah.
good reason to believe that it's going to come down. If there is, if it leaves a little imbalance, that's cool. What if it just comes down and touches our zone to go higher? We're in the
Good
center.
enough for me. Yeah.
And now all we're doing when it hits our zone, right? When it feels one of those lower time frame imbalances, you can click buy if you want, or you can just hold it until it gets to your TP, and then you can buy it back up out of here. But the point is, if you look at the chart, the same way we had an imbalance here, right? See how that price came down into that imbalance?
Mm-hmm.
That's the same price action we're expecting here. We want price to come down into our imbalance and get up out of Dodge.
I got that part. I was just a little bit confused about that 3 week time frame because I was, yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah,
so
that sounds
here's what
good.
I would say, and this could be very overwhelming. I can understand it. I don't want to make it like this should be normal, guys. Many people never ever see these time frames. All I'm trying to add by using these time frames, what I'm trying to explain or show is that this is a order block, right? And it doesn't, if you just
Mhm.
erase the 3W and you just look at the order block, there is a standard way that we trade these. If you fib that long candle, you always expecting price to pull back before it goes up. Every now and then you don't get a pullback. And that's perfectly okay. We don't enter just because we have an order block. We enter once we start pulling back. So the advantage that we have is I can look at EA, excuse me, I can look at GA, I can look at EN. All of these gave the same setup. All we did was wait for the one to start pulling back to enter. So we weren't in love with EN over GN. Like to me, they were all the same setup. The
Yeah, I
difference,
got in the GN one, and then
yeah,
I
to
was
me,
looking for
the
it to run the
EN,
high. I just remember, like, okay, it had to run the high. And then,
right.
but on the entry, to catch the entry down, I was like, okay, um, where are we at? Where are we at?
Well, to me, you just have to um this liquidity grab right here. See this liquidity grab
Yes,
and this push down.
the right.
I would have liked to see price not go back above this high and keep selling, right? But it
Yeah,
went back above the high.
and did
Maybe
another
your
liquidity
hedge would have
grab.
picked up, and once it started selling, you're good. My stressor to people when you trade like this is maybe your entry is raggedy, right? Maybe you're struggling with that initial entry. What you could do, you could have waited until this low was broken and the pullback before you enter the trade. It's going to be a little late, but it's always an option.
Like,
Or you can just wait until you get that daily bearish order block, right? You get the daily bearish order block. Now, in my opinion, you don't really have a question of if it's going down to, now you know it's going down to your zone. The thing that bothers traders is, oh man, that's a long, I missed all those pips. No, you didn't, because it's going to pull back up first, then it's going to sit. So you might not be on a level where, like me, where I can do it on a 4 hour, right? That's okay. You have to be on whatever level you're at right now
can
before
I
you.
show you what I did real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Go. You want to share your screen,
Okay.
or
Share my
you?
screen. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Um, yeah, okay, I can do that. It's fine. Um, will it let me? Okay, hang on. Can you see it?
Hmm. I can see all them ugly colors.
Okay.
Y'all be
So
careful.
yeah.
ICT call that chart graffiti.
Okay. I got graffiti. That's fine. So yeah, that's what. So I was like, okay, it took the liquidity grab twice
It
right
did.
there. But what I did was I waited for the candle to close where I said where okay, so I was either on the 1 hour or the 2 hour right here. I was just waiting for this internal break, right? So this candle,
Hey, can I
let me
say
see.
something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's on.
what I can appreciate and what everybody can kind of you see how TT has notes, got this entry during London, Thursday night, going into Friday. Y'all see that? Like this is perfect for journaling because you can't like if you screw something up, or even if you do it perfectly, the only way you're going to go back and understand is if you have things like this marked. Um, you know, 5 minute imbalance. This entry happened, and if you notice, 225 is a kill zone time. So maybe that will explain to her later on, like, why did I take this entry? It's during kill zone. It filled an imbalance. It was a pullback, whatever the case may be. If you're not making these notes, you're missing an opportunity to gain a better understanding and a better grip on your trading. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, TT.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I was looking at the where the yellow box is, the internal break on the 2 hour here, the internal break. I saw that the red candle closed like even though it didn't close below the wick per se,
But it body, yeah,
I
I agree.
yeah, it closed below the body and I really like that for it because I was like it took the liquidity, that's a confirmation and it took it twice and then it didn't it like it was a lower it's still a lower low on that liquidity grab right there. So then I've just placed my stop loss up there and then entered right there. I just happened to wake up exactly at the right time because my alert, I had an alert on there originally, but God just woke
Did you
me up
set your
right
alert
at.
below the bodies, or did you set your alert? Uh,
I set my alert at the price
okay,
where the
okay.
internal break would be. So it would have
So
been
can you do me a favor, just for everybody else in the group?
yeah.
Can
uh,
you?
right here is where I set my alert
I get it. So just for people's
originally, but
edification,
yeah.
when you have that line, or when you use a line, I use array. It doesn't matter. You can right
Hmm.
click on those lines and set an
Yeah.
alert.
Yeah, I right click right here. And then what I would do is um for that I just wanted to set an alert for any time. It didn't matter if it closed, but if I wanted to do it a close, I would change the time frame to like um
I do mine.
15 minutes,
Yeah, I
right?
do
I would
mine
just change
anytime
it to
too. I don't
15
care about the
minutes.
close. I do mine for just I want when price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would do like, oh, bar closed, or if I wanted to make sure that it closed either below the internal break, this is how I would do it. And then add like sell, sell for, you know, 1.2 pips or whatever, and then create. And then now it would make that alert there. And so then I would see how, or you can just do the 1 hour, close. And once it closes on the 1 hour, you see that tiny candle right here. You see it closed below the previous low. So that's just a confirmation for me. Um, yeah. And then that's when I got in. So I was just curious about that higher time frame because
That's good.
I didn't get the bigger package. I just got the medium size package.
But to me, if you do your work on that higher time frame, the rest of it is easier because you're
Yeah,
at
that 3 week is banging because the 2 week I would have had to wait till this week to see that candle better.
yes.
But even then, right here, you can see it if you just put the fib on. You can also another confirmation is like I marked this up here. I put the fib here. I'm expecting to pull back in my golden zone area where I marked there.
Hmm.
And then yeah, I'm expecting it to at least pull down to the -27 or the -61 because -61 is a reversal level. So you have to expect it could wick through it, but it will pull back during that time
Yeah,
before it
I
continues
would say
down.
more than the level, it's an imbalance. You can see the imbalance.
Yeah.
So you're always going to get a reaction. Um,
Yeah. And math doesn't lie. So just like I had a problem with that in the very beginning. Like I'm just like, well, imbalance. Yeah. If you're good with that, great. But because I'm like, I needed something more solid. I was like, math doesn't lie. 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. I know that the Fibonacci numbers, Fibonacci sequences don't lie. They never failed. They never fail. So I know that it's more of a confidence. Like if you're lacking a little bit confidence, just know that it's your probability is very high for it to hit the -27 or the -61 and then reverse at that level. So now we know because it broke.
And
It
just
has the internal break.
to add that it's probably going to pull back from the -27 because of the liquidity that's right there at
Exactly. Yeah.
of that.
hey, if y'all trade like me, if you don't move your stop, you're good, man. Like I don't care how much it pulled back, it ain't breaking no high. We we
Yeah.
we going where we going. So if you just follow, if you manage your trade from a higher time frame, then you don't worry about the pullbacks. I mean, you understand that they're going to happen, but you just allow those things to take place.
Yeah. That's it. I just
And once you
because I
own your
really like
trade,
the higher time frame. I like that because you don't have to worry too much and you get
exactly.
the more pips. So I just got to upgrade to what is it, extra premium or whatever the package
Yeah,
is
with
to
the
get the
second,
3 week time.
you only have to use the second level. You don't need the highest. You don't need the highest. You don't. The second level from
Oh, okay.
whatever the second package is, the plus or whatever. That's all you really need. You don't because that allows you to add your time frame.
Oh, I must have the week package then. I don't know what happened there. Okay. I gotta fix
Or
that.
maybe you're just not typing your time. You can just type it in. Like 3 week, 22 hour, whatever. Like it. The only
I
advantage
tried to,
that it gives you.
I couldn't do it. It wasn't letting me.
Oh, yeah. I don't. Maybe you want to check your.
My package, yeah. I'm done sharing.
All right, gracias.
They not
All right. Did anybody else have any questions or
I do.
what's up, Mike?
Just the Fibonacci tool. When you are fibbing a bullish candle, do you go from the bottom to the top? Because I
Yeah.
see so bottom to the top, and when it's bearish, it's top to bottom.
Yes. Always the direction that the candle travel.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
All righty. Hey, in the chat, Susan. I'm not really familiar, Susan, but are you following?
Yes, I am, Todd. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was just I just wanted to know, with the imbalances, when it's retracing from any direction, is it that the market usually would retrace and just tap, or it would fill the whole imbalance, or what happens? Because I've back tested and I've seen that sometimes it just taps, sometimes it fills. What makes it do either? So that was
I
my question.
think I think that it depends on how much money is sitting, or how many trades or how many orders are sitting at that imbalance. Uh, but I think what's safe to assume, right, is when you get a break of structure and an imbalance is at or above or below your break of structure, that's the imbalance. That's the key imbalance. So you see where we broke structure right here?
Yes.
There are other imbalances. And if you notice, when price hits these imbalances, it reacts. So when the price comes down to hit this next imbalance, we're going to get another reaction. Then when it comes down and hits the key imbalance, the imbalance that we want, then we're going north. So I can't tell you how high that bounce is going to be, or how many times it hits. It might hit it and bounce, then come and hit it and bounce again, right? Taking a little bit more to close that imbalance. I don't have an answer. I haven't heard a great answer, as far as how far it feels that imbalance, and how high it bounces. The only thing that I understand is it took an extreme amount of money to move the market from a point A to a point B. So there are many orders along the way. That's why you have all these buy orders. So when this next candle pushed down, it hit some buy orders and it pushed higher. This next candle didn't even get the push down, it just pushed higher. So we have to expect that as the market pushes down and hits these buy orders, we're going to get bounces. Hopefully that makes sense. Hey, is Andrew on here? No. Okay. So that's the only answer that I've ever gotten as far as imbalance. You won't know if it's going to fill halfway or the entire imbalance. But you do have the advantage if you understand where the structure break was.
Okay, so having the advantage when you understand where the structure break was, basically you're expecting that it will that's basically the target.
Yes, that's your target.
Okay. So for the EN trade you were talking about, Todd, you said it's going to retrace. And basically, I've been having issues with trade management. And when it trades, is it going to retrace to the imbalance?
Okay, so let's talk about that. So on this EN, and this is any trade, and this is exactly how we did the 3-week order block, right? But in this case, we have the daily. This is the daily order block. So you're just fibbing this candle, and you're marking your zone.
And Todd, when you talk about your zone, you're talking about between the 50% and the 65%. That is your zone you're talking about, right?
Yep. And most people, they use a 61.8. I just changed mine to 65, but
what's the reason you changed yours to 65?
Okay, so let me see if I can explain this in a way that doesn't confuse you. All right, the 61 is a little bit smaller, right? The 60,
Okay, yeah.
The 65 expands the golden zone, but let's just say I want to be more stingy on the trades that I take. And I can say, hey, if it doesn't pull back at least 65%, if you don't give me a 65% discount, if you're only giving me a 61% discount, I don't want it. I don't want to sell at 61%. I want to sell at 65%. Some people will say, if you don't pull back 75%, I don't want to sell. Does that make sense?
Definitely does. Yes.
So you're basically you're just getting a better deal. So
I gotcha.
when
Okay.
you look at it like that, then it's up to you. Um,
So it's your personal trading plan.
it is, but also I want you to understand you're gonna miss some trades doing it like this. But you have to be okay with missing some trades. Let me give you an example. If you look at this red candle, when it pulled back up, I think it did hit your 75% or your 78%. So by the luck of the pullback, you were able to participate in this sale. This pullback might only go and hit your 50% and start selling. So if you're waiting on a 78% pullback, you're not going to get a 78% pullback every time. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So that I just made mine 65 because I like that. Now, the zone doesn't make the trade. It doesn't create the trade for me. It gives me the area that I need to look. So all I'm saying to myself is my trade is going to take place between my entry is going to happen between here and here. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So this is all I'm looking for is somewhere in this area. Somewhere in this shaded area, I'm going to look for an entry into this trade.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
All I have to do now is drop down 2 time frames, right? Because this is the daily, I can drop to the 1 hour. Now, these 2 time frames are going to show me the imbalance. There's my zone. I just look for this imbalance. That imbalance for me is everything. That is my entry. So now, if I wanted to, I could delete my whole fib if I wanted to, and I can just mark my imbalance. For me, as a ICT smart money trader, this is my key. Now, what ICT would tell me is all the trade has to do is touch the imbalance to sell. So it's up to me as a trader now to say, hey, man, my entry should be here. My stop loss should go above this candle. That's a 44 pip stop loss. Do I want to use 44 pips on this trade? No, I don't. So what I have to do now is be awake, right? When the trade comes here to hit. Or I can say, you know what? I don't want to be awake. I'm gonna set a limit order and I want a 25 pip stop. So if I want a 25 pip stop, my entry has to be at this specific price, 190.11, right? That's where my entry is, regardless of if it hits it or not. I'm only using 25 pips. This is where my entry is. This is where my stop loss is. And I'm good if it hits it, and I'm good if I miss it. Does that make sense?
It is, Todd. Yes.
Okay. So that's it. Like it's not any like secret sauce or anything special. That's just how it works.
So that's 50% of the imbalance. That is where you would set the limit. Just
Well, this is actually a little higher because I'm basing it off of the risk, like the 25 pips.
your stop loss. Okay.
Yeah, if you wanted to use 50% of the imbalance, then it's going to cost you 28 pips, almost 29 pips. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, it's you can do that. I've heard ICT say several times that he uses consequent encroachment 50% of this is what he would use.
What does consequent encroachment mean?
It means it's 50% of this imbalance. That's
Oh, okay.
Price it goes 50%. He would enter the trade, and then he would put his stop loss above that candle.
Okay, so that's just the terminology.
Yeah, consequent encroachment is the terminology that means 50% of the imbalance.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Todd. Appreciate it.
No problem. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? So everybody is following. Everybody understands.
Can I just see the settings for your box tool? Because mine is just a big block. When you do it, it has a line in the middle.
Well, yeah, you just set the line. You go to settings,
Hmm.
and maybe it's the style. Middle line right here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So, is everybody following along? And everybody understand kind of what we're doing? Okay, many of us are in this trade, right? And which is cool. Uh, there are some trade setups that are happening next week based on the 2 week time frame. They're great setups, right? Um, if you're looking at the EUR chef pull back to push higher, maybe you don't trade that anymore. I don't trade GBP, but same difference. The JPYs are always good for pip count. They have a bullish order block. So you can expect a pullback, probably to go higher. There's trend line liquidity in the zone. There's some equal highs, relative equal highs that are in this zone. Um, so just make sure that if you're at least doing the work, you have an understanding of kind of what you expect to see or what you're looking for. I'm looking for the pullback, then I'm looking to take this to a higher zone, or I'm looking to take it to an imbalance in my zone. Um, if you keep it simple, then you're going to make sure that you're hitting your goals, right? This pullback right here, if it pulls back to your zone, is 328 pips. If I'm analyzing a trade for next week, I don't need to say anything other than I'm trading it back to the zone because it's well over the 100 pip target, right? If I go down to the 4 hour and I look for the imbalance, it's right there at my zone. So to me, there's a bearish 4 hour. We already bought up into the 4 hour. It's a sell straight down to your zone that pays, pays a lot of money. 334 pips. Easy trade. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to recognize your advantage over the market. And you're not going to do it if you're not on the charts looking for the setup, right? And if you do this, on a Friday afternoon, most of us are either finished trading or we're bored. Friday afternoon, Friday night. Uh, I don't wait for Ish to publish the order blocks. I look at Friday. Most of the time, either my trade is done, or in this case, we're in a trade doing nothing. So on Friday, I just looked at all the order blocks, and then I happened to look at EJ and GJ. I'm like, man, those are great setups. Great setups. Uh, that all you got to do is get in and hit TP at these lows right here, and you're getting 330 pips. So a 300 pip drop is to me, it's like candy, man. So
Hey, Ty, how far is the distance between the high, your blue line, and that zone you have marked above?
up here,
Yeah, how many pips is that from the high to the zone?
230,
Bet.
230. So
It's
I'm
oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if I'm taking this trade, right? And why do I even have this high mark? I have the high because it's the high of this candle. What I would love to see if I'm trading this is I would love to see this high taken out first. I would love to see market manipulation. Come take out this high, then go down to the zone to go higher. And I'm at the point in my trading where if I don't get that, um, it just turns me off about the trade because I understand about, liquidity. I want to see a take of liquidity, and then I want to see a trade down into the zone. If this is moving 300 pips, I don't expect the market to open up and it drops 300 pips. I expect a little funny action. So maybe we drop a little bit and then we get that push up. And that push up is what really makes people say, oh man, we're not going to the zone. No, that push up, they're just going to take out the high. So maybe on London, we sweep that high and then we start cooking. So you guys will kind of develop your favorites, right? And then if price doesn't give you that price action, you'll be like, yeah, I'm not interested. Um, and maybe a trade like this is too far, it's too much wick. So what I would say is if I'm looking at GJ and I'm looking at EJ, my EJ setup to me is a lot better. This is an 82 pip wick right here. So when I drop down to my lower time frames, we got to do a lot more work to come take out this high than we do on EJ. Not saying that it can't be done. The setup to me looks better on EJ than it does on GJ. And it could be something as small as that wick is longer than EJ's wick. I prefer to trade candles that are more full than candles that have a lot of wick. Does that make sense? All the wick is a pullback pretty much. And because I like trading pullbacks, I prefer a candle that doesn't have a lot of pullback. It gives me more of the advantage. Can we talk about the USD pair? I allow her to talk about it because for me it was yesterday that we closed this December candle. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember talking about these USD pairs at the end of December? Hello. Y'all,
Were you talking about
No,
that?
I don't remember.
y'all don't remember. Man, y'all kill me, man. Because
I remember you saying that because I was wondering in 3 months.
yeah, so listen, man, this is why this is so important, guys. And I know Spice Girl, Leandra, we've done this for the last few years. Um, but the reason this is so important and this is so powerful is because we looked at these moves, GU, EU, UJ, and we expected, right? I expected in 3 months that this would break this low, right? And all I needed to happen was for price to go up and violate this wick, right? Take out the wick, take out the high, and start selling. Here's the reason why this is powerful. If you catch that sell move, the same way we got in GN, the same way we got in EN, right? And you get in that trade and you hold it, right? Right now, you're up 961 pips. At some point, you were up over 1,000 pips. At some point, you would have made 1,000 pips in less than 3 months. And the power behind this, guys, is if we go to this daily. In fact, let me go back to 3 months because I want to move this mark to this wick high. And we go to the daily chart. Here's the power behind this. Once we wick this high right here, y'all see that wick. Once we got that wick and it's pushed down and pulled back, we could have entered this trade on Tuesday, January 25th. So if you entered that trade Tuesday, January 25th, and you just held it because we all had that same knowledge and we sold it down to this level that I have marked up. That's 1100 pips. What that means to me, right? What that means to me is from Tuesday, January 14th until price hit March 7th, you didn't lose one trade. You're only in this trade. If you just had one position and you never added to it, you didn't lose a trade from January 15th to March 10th. And the reason this is powerful is if you go look at your MT4, MT5, your trade locker, and you can erase every loss from January 15th until March 7th or March 10th, how much more money would you have in your account? Trading is playing defense the same way we play offense, right? We all think about this as if we can win a trade, we grow our account. But what if you could not lose a trade for 2 months? And all of us knew, we've talked about, all of us knew that this was going to drop because in January, I mean, in December, end of December, we talked about this very chart. And, if you go and you look in our recorded Zoom calls and you find that one that we did on like the 28th or 29th, it's embarrassing that I even said that. Now, I said it and I didn't get in the trade. For my defense, I was trading other things. And I've won many trades. But my point is, if there's a way, a path for us to get better as individual traders, I think the path is understanding how we can play defense. The same way that I said, hey man, hold the EN trade. By us holding the EN trade, you're avoiding losses in other potential trades, right? Now, I'll still look at other trades for next week. But we don't have to take any other trade. We can just sit in this trade and we're guaranteed over our 100 pips. You see what I'm saying? So all the risk that we have is out of this. It's out of the situation for this coming week. We don't have a risk of hopping in a trade and getting stopped out or getting a hedge picked up because we're already sitting in a trade. We haven't moved our stops. We haven't moved our hedge. We're just sitting and waiting. So we don't have to do anything. That's our advantage over the market this week. But if you go back and you look at these candles, right? The same way TT had her little markups on her chart. If I had marked this up and say, hey, I expected price to come, I don't have to do it because I already know. But I knew I expected price to break this high. If you go and you do your markups at these 3-month or these 2-month candle closures, or when people ask me, why did you use such high time frames? This is why. Because the advantage that you have now at the end of this 3-month candle closure or the end of this 2-month candle closure, and we're getting another one in the March, the advantage that you're going to have is you're sitting in a high enough time frame where you knew you had a bearish order block on GU. And if you would fib this, right? And we all did this at the end of December. So if we fib this move and we had marked our golden zone, we have hit target. Now, what I want you to understand is this sold, like in January, this sold down big time. And I didn't care. I said at the time, I don't care how far it sells down. You can wait for it to turn around. And I can hear a chorus of people saying, well, Ty, how do we know when it turns around? Bruh, it's selling down is such a big advantage. You could wait until you get a whole weekly bullish order block. This whole weekly bullish order block, you could have waited until you got that weekly bullish order block. You could have fibbed the weekly bullish order block. You could have marked your zone. Not this week, but this week would have given you an entry. It'll give you an entry way down yonder, right? Let's just use your 65. If you would have entered at the 65, how many pips is that? 659 pips, right? 659 pips you would have won, and your trade would have started, let's just call it February 3rd. You would not have lost the trade since February 3rd. That's huge if you think about it like that. If you go and look, how many trades have I lost from February 3rd to now? I could have avoided every loss if I had just used that higher time frame and waited until it traded in my direction. Now, using a weekly candle is an extreme. That's extreme, right? But it's doable because that's how much room we had. We waited for this weekly order block, the pullback, we still caught 659 pips. That's huge, man. This goes a long way in changing your fortunes as a trader. What I would love to see is for this to turn into a bullish 3-month order block. Then we're just waiting for the pullback and we get in for the buy and we can hold this buy for long term. We might be able to hold this buy until like November, December. But we'll approach it when we get there. I just want to kind of talk about how we can use these long-term uh, these long-term charts to our advantage, right? We get this bullish 3-month order block. All we're doing is waiting for a pullback, right? We can sell the pullback and then we can buy the actual move because we have the imbalance marked on our chart. Y'all see that? So if we come here and we get a bullish 3-month order block, trade the sell back, and then we just buy this long term right into this imbalance. This is, man, like to me, this is the easy button for trades. And this is a 3-month chart, but you manage this trade like on the daily, on the 18-hour, and you can add positions because you're just going higher. There's no question. You're just going higher. Anywho, y'all have any questions?
Can we go back to EJ?
Okay, you be killing
Go
me.
to the 2-month.
You be killing me, girl.
No. And we fibbed those 2 red candles together.
Uh-huh.
And the highs that you were talking about probably getting taken out is the 78 of that 2-month
Right.
move. So
So
if it goes to the negative 27, are we looking at like 1,000 pips on EJ?
yeah, listen, I think it's gonna be a lot more than that. But
Awesome.
yeah, um, I could see us taking this high out right here and selling back down within this 2-month candle, like it being a wick.
And that high is at the bottom of your zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
These JPYs have a lot of ground to cover. Righty. I think we have a
Thank you.
I think we have a lot of potential. Um, you know, executing trades is just a test of your patience, right? Once you have the understanding, which I believe that most of us have the understanding, now it's just a matter of patience, right? Waiting for your bias or for your understanding to play out. It's not going to not do it because you pick the trade. You just have to be willing to allow time to take the trade where it needs to go. The same way we did with GN, some people bailed on that trade. And my question to you is why? You were never threatened. And it's a rhetorical question. Um, the rhetorical question is why did you bail when you had such a great entry? The only answer, when you search within yourself is, hey, I did not trust my analysis. Because anybody who saw a 3-week chart and you saw that extremely long 3-week candle on that bullish order block, you know that we're pulling back. You got a great entry into that trade after it took out the high. You had catbird seat. Why would you ever bail on that trade? The trade is just getting warmed up. I mean, this week it could dump 400 or 500 pips on us like that. So going forward, this is not the last time you're going to catch these moves, right? The buy up after this is going to be 10 times better. But you're not going to be able to hold the trade, one, if you don't believe in the move. And you're not going to be able to hold the trade, two, if you don't understand what it is you're trying to accomplish, right? Whenever I ask y'all, hey man, y'all have any questions? A lot of times it's silence. And I feel like, yeah, there are still questions to be asked. But I can't assume that I know what line of thought you have. The same way that like Kimmy, you were not clear on, hey man, I gotta wait until this candle closes before I can actually use it. There's no way I could ever make an assumption that somebody doesn't understand that. So that's the importance of asking your question, even if you think, hey man, this might be a dumb question. It's not a dumb question to you. So you have to be able to ask those questions. And I don't mind going over stuff 2 or 3 times. I get it. Trading is a complicated thing, especially when you start switching time frames. At the end of the day, I want everybody to understand we're doing the same thing. It doesn't matter what time frame. You have an order block. The order block gives you the advantage. The analysis is I can fib the longer candle on the order block. I can get my zone that it needs to pull back to. I can drop down to find the imbalance within that zone. And that's where price needs to trade back to before it makes the actual move. It doesn't matter if it's a 4-hour order block or a 4-month order block or a 3-month order block or a 6-month order block. All of this is going to line you up to be in the position to grow your account, right? And I know that more people think about winning trades than they do think about playing defense. The way you play defense is if you get in a trade that's moving a long distance, because once you're in that trade, you're sitting on your hands. Okay? Don't add a bunch of positions in the trade on the 4-hour time frame. You can't do it. You're going to kill your account. You have to wait at least, until you get an 18-hour move. Most of you, or I'm not going to say most, some of you don't have the 18-hour candle. Use the daily. Add when you get your daily bearish order block and you get your pullback. Those are safer places to add, versus you trying to add a bunch of positions on the 1-hour and the 4-hour, because when that daily pulls back, it's going to blow your account. So if you're just patient enough to allow the trade to play out, guys, on these EN, EA, GN, GA, we're trading the pullback. We're counter trend trading these 500 pips. Once this thing turns around to buy, you're going to look at a 1,000 pip move. So the goal should be not to blow your account on the pullback. You're adding equity on this pullback, right? You're selling it so you can buy it. So whatever you make on this pullback is chump change compared to what you're going to make on the buy. So let's say you make 150 bucks on this pullback because you're trading a small lot size. You can't look at it like, oh man, I'm missing out on all this money. No. Make your $150 on this pullback. Then, whenever you get ready to get your buy position, your lot size can be a little bit bigger. And we're going north. So every time you get that daily bullish order block now, you're adding to a position. So where you made 150 bucks on the pullback, now you can make 400 or 500 bucks on the forward move, on the move that buys. We have to become strategic as traders. We have to become strategic as a people, right? We're the least invested people. We're the least bankroll people. We are learning a skill set that will enable us to become providers, to become breadwinners, to become the cornerstones, the financial cornerstones of our village, right? And within this group, guys, we have the ability to become uh, our own bankers, right? Our own real estate guys. If we need a loan, we have each other. We don't have to go use a bank for something that we have partners, right? Maybe you want to buy a duplex and the bank ain't trying to give you a loan, or you're just not interested in going to the bank. But Dylan is making all kinds of money. Now maybe you and Dylan team up and buy a duplex. Bank is never involved. You're self bankroll. That's the beauty of a community, right? We're not charging money, guys. We're trying to build a team. We're trying to grow our mindsets collectively. We're trying to break, generational curses. We're trying to all grow to a level where we're self-sustaining financial machines, right? I don't have to know the ins and outs of credit because maybe Will knows the ins and outs of credit. I don't have to know the ins and outs of real estate. My brother got a real estate license. I don't have to know all the ins and outs of crypto because my brother does crypto. There's reason um, there's reason to come and learn in the group. But you have to find your personal reason, your personal drive, right? I don't have to ask Dylan if he's looking at the charts. I know Dylan is on them charts because there's a personal reason, there's a personal motivation, right? Y'all know I don't believe in the United States. I don't believe in the living experience that we're being sold, right? We have to pay a premium to live in these United States. And my personal question to the United States is why, bro? Like, why do I pay 10 times more to live in the United States than I do in Thailand when Thailand is providing me 100% of what I can get in the United States? Probably a little bit more. The safety, the United States can't compete in safety to Thailand. They can't compete in food safety. So, this is just my personal thought process. And I know y'all hear me say this type of thing, but I just think as a people, um, I'm 50 years old, and for the first 45 years of my life, uh, it was about women and, uh, flash or cars or whatever, right? Um, but as a people, what we can do is we can change the narrative, right? If we want to move and we want to live in Mexico, we might have a network of people, right? Brazil, Colombia, Kenya, Mauritius. The point is, if we can change our financial mindsets, right? If you have the finances, you can do and you can do what you want to do, you can live where you want to live, right? You can educate your children the way you want to educate them. You can feed them food that won't give them cancer. You can provide stability for the ignorant people in your family who are just ignorant. We were all ignorant at some point as far as the way we spent money, the way we viewed things, right? Uh, and it's up to us to educate ourselves to a level where we see things a bit differently. We understand where our advantages lie. The same way when we look at the chart, we have an understanding of where we have the advantage, right? There's no way I'm buying EJ right now. EJ has a bullish order block and price is sitting at the top of a 2-week bullish order block. I'm not buying it, bro. If anything, I'm selling it until it gets to the zone, and which gives me an opportunity to buy it at a discounted price. So a lot of these decisions that we make reflect a greater either issue or a greater positive of the way we view things, right? Our understanding, our basic understanding of finances, our basic understanding of a good deal. We're only buying and selling when we trade. Are you buying things at the highest price? Most of us we don't do that in our normal lives. If I go buy me a pair of pants or a pair of shoes or whatever, I don't want to buy at the premium price. I want to buy when they have a sale. I want to buy it when it's discounted. That's the same way we should approach trading. If I want to sell you something, if I have a car or a computer, I don't want to sell you, I don't want you to lowball me. I want you to give me the highest price possible. The same way EJ is at the highest price that it's been in the last 2 weeks. So if I'm selling to EJ, now I'm selling it because it's at the highest price. I'm not waiting until EJ drops to the lowest price to sell it. So these are the things that we have to make sure that we have a good control of. The way we view the market, right? We got to take our emotions out of it. We can't get emotional. Hey, if we lose a trade, I got it, man. You got me this time. I got you next time. We have to use each other. We have to bounce ideas off each other, right? You can't be scared to talk to the guy or the girl next to you, man. We're in a group, man. We all come from the same place. Bro, none of y'all can touch the level of poor that I came from. I don't care what y'all think. None of you can ever touch the level of poor that I came from. So I don't have a problem with talking to people about being broke. I don't have a problem with asking, hey man, Dylan, how did you do that? Hey man, how did you do that? Y'all have to get to a point, man, where you swallow your pride. Man, I've been doing this for 5 years. I probably have struggled wherever you're at. But if you have a problem with bringing the issue and you think I'm going to know, you're wrong, man. Like there's no way I can know. I can't. I have no idea what you're thinking. What I'm thinking is I'm breaking it open and I'm laying it bare the best way I know how to do it. But the way that I know how to do it doesn't work for everybody because we're all individuals. So you guys have to fend for yourself, and you have to do it in a way, hey man, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand how you're explaining it. And it's nothing wrong with y'all reaching out to each other, and maybe kind of working in small groups, right? The 100 pip flip group that we have. My idea is, hey man, it's a sector of people in this group that want to trade the same way that I trade. So I can break it down for you the way that I see it, right? I can create small videos. I can do all that stuff in that group. That way it will allow you kind of to access what I'm thinking or what I'm looking for. And that's my idea um, behind that group. Some of you learn better from Kim or Andrew, and they have ways that they teach and ways that they view the market. All I'm trying to tell you is if you hone in on one of those different ways and you just take the trades, right? You take notes the same way that TT had on her chart. And TT does the ICI strategy is very similar to the way I trade, right? But it has some little nuances with the fib. I don't pretend to understand all the ICI, but it's pretty similar. But she's successful in that. But if you're not doing the work, it's going to be very difficult to be helped because you're not going to be able to articulate your struggles and not articulate it to a level where somebody who's doing it understands where you're struggling. You know what I'm saying? So please, I beg you, bruh, like we're only getting better. At least for me, every year that turns on that calendar, man, it's like the market just continues to open. Like my understanding expounds like leaps and bounds. And it's not just my understanding of the market, it's my understanding of how to get myself better or how I could take advantage better. And I think it all kind of starts with your understanding of how to navigate those time frames, right? When I first came into trading, it was 4 hour, oh wait, daily 4 hour and 15 minute. I think that those are the three time frames Ruby really, really worked with. And none of it made sense. It just didn't make sense. Um, and it's no knock on Ruby, but I needed I needed more. And that's why I kind of had to go to the smart money concept. It just took forever to go through all those videos. And guys, I get it, man. It's a lot of work and a lot of effort to digest video after video. Um, but the only thing that I can tell you, and I know I hear myself talk about how the videos help me. Um, but I really believe that it just takes time to digest those videos over a certain period of time where your learning takes place. Like, hey, Kim or Sean or whoever, um, how long did it take you, like your understanding after you watch videos?
Um, after I watch
Well,
videos,
okay,
maybe like a year and a
but
half.
just explain how about you explain your learning in your learning curve, your challenges as a trader.
Um, so and it's the reason why I teach because um when I started trading, I don't recall Ruby ever teaching like market structure. I don't
I don't
recall
either.
her doing it.
I don't either. I know she had a video course. I mean, maybe she did. But I don't recall that
Or
either.
maybe I just didn't understand it at the time. I don't know. But it wasn't until I learned market structure that it started making sense for me. And then it really clicked. And I tell you this all the time. It really clicked when you were teaching, when you were framing the market.
Okay, frame the market. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hmm Um, so that's when it kind of clicked for me. And then I started watching more videos on. I mean, because you're framing the market at order blocks, right?
Right.
So that is, to me. Hold on, Mark. Let's get ready to switch over to my car. Um, Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So to me, the order blocks, like just trading from one order block to the next order block, which is supply and demand. um, that's just when it started making sense to me. So, um, and then the more I started looking at videos, because YouTube is like my TV at this point.
It's been my
Um,
5 years.
so yeah, so I want to say, because I know we both started in August of 2020.
Yeah.
So maybe around 2023 is when it started clicking. 20, and by 2024, that's when like I had my strategy, like my how I wanted to trade as an intraday trader.
Okay. So basically, I think what I hear you saying is you went a whole 3 years feeling like you had your head in a pillowcase.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Well,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
for lack of a better word, I
Yeah.
think I
Well,
think
I'm gonna say 2 years, because when I first joined Ruby, like the first 7, 8 months, I really didn't do anything. First year, I really didn't do anything. So I'm gonna say about 2 years.
right. So I think what we're saying is, um, I personally don't know a way to avoid that feeling. That you just don't get it. Like I don't know if there's Sean, do you? I know me and you talk a lot about that, but did you feel like you was like, man, I don't get it.
Yep. I mean, for a long time, even sometimes now, uh, I still don't, it's hard to connect some of the time frames. So, I don't know, but I've learned that way with everything, not just this, with crypto, with real estate, with macroeconomics. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. And then for no reason, at some point, I just have epiphanies and it starts to make sense. So, it's just going to take time and repetition is what I would tell people. And either you're going to stick it out or you don't. I mean, that's why when Oliver Velez said in that video that only 92, or I guess 92% of people fail,
Right.
it's that's why I think, it's not because 92% of people aren't smart enough. It's because 92% of people, they quit for whatever their reasons are. They run out of money, they wander in the wilderness too long, and they just quit, for whatever their reasons are. But most likely, that's why the success rate is so low, because most people aren't going to try something and go years failing and continue to do it, especially when they're trying to eat and pay their bills.
Yeah, I also think people use money too early. The demo is definitely the way to do it. And that's after I spent 60K. But hey, Kimmy, what do you mean what's SIE?
I was just asking, because I was a couple years ago, I was just trying to get better at understanding like just the behind the scenes and stuff. So I was taking like a SIE course, an exam just to learn more about like the markets and stocks and stuff like that. So I was wondering because I
What is
learning it this
SIE?
way, it doesn't. I was saying like learning it this way, it doesn't seem like I would need to get deeper knowledge into that, but I'm just trying to see would that be helpful if I'm just seeking deeper knowledge to know just more of the behind the scenes, if that would just be helpful.
I personally don't know that is helpful.
Okay.
And whenever you say SIE, I'm not sure what you mean, but unless it's a a professional firm that does this.
It's like Ferna. Like Ferna gives exams so you can get like your license and stuff if you want to like get deeper. But
Yeah, I'm not gonna say absolutely not. but I didn't have any extra training, you know.
Okay.
It was YouTube and really to me, for me, it was ICT.
Okay.
For me, because the ICT taught and he could tell you exactly where price was going. To me, that was a game changer because up until that point, we guessed at every freaking thing, and nobody could give any explanation of why price was doing what it was doing. And even when we marked up zones with Ruby, when you start putting your support and resistance, it's all so subjective. So now I can probably see support and resistance a little bit better, but this is after years, you know, 5 years in the market. But at the time when you're a newer person, you to me, I needed way more detail than I felt like I got uh, the way that Ruby was teaching. Now Ruby was making a bunch of money, like bunch of money. So I knew it worked, but it just didn't work for me that way. So what ICT did for me is he can explain down to the nth degree of why price was going, or he can explain where it was going and why it was going there. And once I understood that, like it just everything just like clicked. It was like, man, you know, like I could see it. Um, so I just think that however you know, whatever style that you want to trade, right? Uh, you have to give that style some grace. You have to give yourself time to go through the information and then time to process that information. And we're individuals. So I might be able to go through and process information in 4 weeks, and my brother might be able to do it in 3 weeks. And then somebody else might be able to do it in 1 week. And then it might take somebody else 1 year. So you have to kind of understand where you are as an individual. But you also uh, have to understand that at some point, right? And you know, once you exceed your level as an individual, like if once I understood that I wasn't going to get it the way that Ruby was teaching it, I sought more information, right? Uh, and specifically, I sought out smart money concepts. And the first dude I think I came across was Mint FX. And you know, his the way that he taught didn't I didn't he was way too detailed. You know, he was way too detailed for me back then. So it didn't click. And then, you know, eventually I stumbled on this ICT dude, and at that time he was, you know, you had to pay, and there was a waiting list. But you know, I got in with a couple of dudes that had his information, so I started learning, you know, some of his basic concepts. And then all of a sudden, in 2022, he put out that mentorship, and the mentorship was gold. I was able to make money prior to that mentorship, but what the mentorship did was, uh, whereas ICT used to teach concepts like what a liquidity run was, what an order block was, what an imbalance was. He never put it all together and and taught a system that you can use to trade. And that's what that 2022 mentorship did. So it was such an easy read for me that I just started teaching it that way because, you know, you don't have to teach individual things like what a liquidity grab is, what a stop run is. It's still great, I think, to know that information. But if I can just show you an entire move and show you how to trade that move, then you're profitable at that point. So that's kind of the way that I just started teaching. And I think for the most part, people get it like that. You know, some of y'all don't get it yet. And I think personally, you don't get it yet because you're new. you know, and it's going to take time. The question, you know, like my brother just said, you know, are you going to give it the time, or are you going to quit? Or are you going to spend your 60,000? Like me, you know, you can always throw money at it, and the market is just going to keep taking your money. Or you can wait to put your money out there and you can learn, right? Um, you know, I try to get with people on one-on-ones, right? And then offer you yeah, market tuition. But I try to give you one-on-ones to offer you you know, a more in-depth view of what you personally need. You know, a lot of people charge money for that. And sometimes you have to pay the money. Maybe, you know, maybe you have to pay money. It's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with investing um, in a mentor that can show you maybe you know, a different way or a way that you understand better. It's plenty of people out there. All I would tell you is um, at the end of the day, I'm showing you a system that makes me money every week. I'm showing you a system that works, and it's free. Not the best system, right? I'm not getting you paid $1 million in 15 minutes like some other people might be able to do. Uh, but it works. It's free. Other people, to include Tanisha, you know, y'all know Tanisha from Ruby's group. She has mentorships that you can pay for. You know, and I don't know how expensive it. Has anybody paid for Tanisha's one-on-ones?
I did once. It was two, or I think it's 200 or something like that. Two.
Okay, how like is that a for a package? Like does she is it a time is it a one-time thing or is it
It's like a package deal, and so you get, you know, your trainings and your weekly meetings and reviews on your trades and all that good stuff,
right? So
like a normal mentorship.
okay, so
Also, like a review plan, like success, like your review, like to see how you're going to be successful in your trade, in your next trades. Like what do you need to be successful in your next trade setups? Like how your trading style and all that good stuff.
okay, so she charges for that. And but you know, it's nothing wrong with paying if you're getting results. It's nothing wrong with that. So you have to kind of and she has a whole community, Pro Park community on Discord. Um, and you know, she's successful. She's successful in her way of trading, which is awesome. Um, I don't knock that, but you have to decide at the end of the day if you're going to make this work for you or not. And I knew when I had that job in California, working them 12-hour days, 5 days a week, and they wanted me to work more. Um, I knew that trading was going to work out for me because them jobs wasn't working out for me. Like I already knew, man, there's no way that I could ever live my idea of a dream life by working for somebody else. It just wasn't going to happen. So trading offered that that dream. And you know, once I learned how to trade, it also offered you a plan of attack to accomplish that dream. And I just want everybody uh, to experience that. I told all of my friends, I told all of my exes, I told anybody who will listen, this is the way, this is the path forward. This is the big joker for our community. I recognize it as that. Um, I'm not, I know it's not easy. I get it. It's frustrating. But what I'm telling you is when you stand on top of that mountain, or even in the middle of that mountain, and you can make more than your job is paying you, or if you can make a half of what your job is paying you, if you can make half of what you make at your job right now, you can live a great life in Costa Rica. You can live a great life in Colombia, in Brazil, while you're getting better. You're only going to get better. And Alicia and Dez was chopping it up. I know that the Spice Girl over there in London is way better. The understanding is way better now than it was 3 years ago. Elfie, you've been doing this for a minute. How is your understanding now versus 2 years ago? Kenya. So even if you're not like none of us can say, man, I'm exactly where I want to be. No. I want to be way better, right? But my understanding and my execution right now is way better than it was back in 2022. So all I'm saying to y'all is, and what I'm trying to encourage y'all to do, man, is, bruh, can y'all imagine what we're gonna be in 5 years, man? Like we can literally
Killing it, killing the
buy up
market.
blocks in communities. We can do that in
Yeah.
the United States if we want. We could create a Black Wall Street again.
Period.
We could also do that in other places that are already friendly to us. We can go to a Uganda. We can go to a Kenya. We can go to a Mombasa, Brazil, Colombia, Grenada. Like we can do whatever as long as those local laws allow us to own real estate. We can become the controlling people without breaking the bank personally. In 5 years, $25,000 a piece will be a joke. We can get 10 people to put $25,000. We got a $500 million. I mean, not a $250 million. We might want to go buy the Dallas Cowboys, man, and actually create a real winning team. I mean, just it's endless, man. Like we the things that we will be able to do, the change that we can affect, right? The orphanage that we could sponsor, the battered women's home, that whatever, man. Like we can do anything. And the struggle that we go through right now is going to look like, man, I complained about that little arm scrape. And now look at me. Look at where I'm at now.
That's right.
So you guys have to, you just got to commit to the struggle, man. The struggle bus is real. It's going to happen. But like Oliver Bliss said, at the end of the day, you gonna look in the mirror and decide, do I have what it takes? Do I have what it takes, traders? Because at the end of the day, it's you versus you. Um, you know, nobody on this platform on this Discord is going to charge you money. Kim teaches for free. I teach for free. Andrew for free. TT for free. But if you need to pay, you need to pay. And there are people to do. I don't know. I can't tell you about that. I can't tell you about how good somebody else's service is because I haven't bought it. But there are other people that you're gonna pay too. Like there's a lot of people that teach different versions of smart money or ICT. I think Jade Cap, all those people they teach and they have paid for platforms. Um, I can't knock it. If that's the way you learn, that's the way you learn. But there, if you put in the time and you persevere, you're going to get better. All right, Fo, you
I
have.
appreciate you teaching for free. I really do.
Well, I get it. That's all I wanted. Whenever I was helping Ruby become a millionaire, is like, wow, man, if we can just understand what's going on.
Yeah, I do, really do. All these years and you never charge. I appreciate all that. And the one-on-ones you give is just unlimited. It's just so appreciative. Like I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, hey, I mean, it's all good. I expect, in 5 years when we go and buy this building, I expect to have people that can contribute. We don't have to go to banks, man. Like that's huge, man. And if y'all ever went to go get a loan from anybody's bank, you already know how that go. I
Yeah,
know y'all
crazy.
aren't old enough to understand what redlining is, but
I do.
well, that this is how we circumvent the system.
Yeah.
This is it, man. This is it. If we want to go buy a commercial building, this is how we do it. But we all have to suffer through the learning. It's just learning, guys. The same way, like some of y'all sucked in the 6th grade and it ain't changed yet. But that's cool. We're not graded on how long it takes us to graduate the 6th grade. Just get through it. You might have to bring every book home, like me. I had to bring every book home, even though I didn't have homework. Hey, man, it is what it is. Fo, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the entries, but I think you explained because I was gonna ask like you're like, oh, we're waiting for the pullback, and I was trying to figure out, okay, are you waiting for the pullback in a sense that if it's bearish, you're going to buy on the pullback and then, add a position, or you're saying wait for that daily
What
OB?
trade are you talking about?
I'm just speaking in general as far as adding positions. Because when you text me like you have to wait for the daily OB, I was like lost. I was like, what are you talking about? In order to add another position. Because I just felt like it was like a long stretch, but I think I kind of understand. But when you started explaining it, I'm like, okay, are you waiting for the pullback? Meaning you're
Brett,
doing the opposite and adding another
are you in
entry?
a trade right now?
No, my positions are closed.
Okay. Look. Okay. The trade I called was EN, right? So I don't tell people in my group to buy this up, right? Um, if you look at this buy move, maybe it's 89 pips or so, but there are probably some people who can execute that buy move, right? They can execute it and they can take their profit at 71 pips. But when you're teaching in a group and you got people at different learning levels, to me, um, trying to get people to buy this up for 70 pips is going to be a failure because maybe they don't understand why we're buying it up. They don't understand that there's an imbalance there on the 1 hour. They don't understand how long it may take. They might not get the buy message until price is halfway up, and then there's really uh, it's not a good idea. So it depends on you, and this might confuse people, but it depends on your level of understanding uh, of whether or not you should be buying to sell or selling to buy. Because if we're being 100% honest, every trade that we take is a counter trend trade on some level, right? Um, this sale that we're taking on this 3-week chart is a counter trend trade. Price is counter trend selling. The only thing that makes this a decent trade idea is because we expected this sale to be, 300 pips or whatever. It ended up going higher and we caught it at a higher point. So we might be able to get 500 pips out of the sale. That's what makes this counter trend trade a viable trade for our level of trading, right? So I would tell people once you get in for this sell, just hold your sell position and don't add positions unless you're getting daily or 18-hour bearish order blocks. And you only add if it pulls back to your zone. Then you add and sell it down.
Okay, yeah, that was my question. Like,
Right. So what I would also say, Fo, is stop at 2 positions. Once you get 2 positions, that's plenty. I don't want you to have to manage 4 or 5 different sales. Now, once you get some skin in the game and some experience, yeah, add as many as you would like, as many as you can manage. But at some point, those positions become a chore. And it's not having fun. It's zapping your mental strength trying to manage all those positions. So you get you 2 positions and you ride them down to your TP, right? Maybe you take profit on one and you leave the other one open and you automatically click buy because the bigger picture is we're going higher after we pull back. But we'll approach that when we get there. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So I think if you and not just you, but if we as a group approach trading like this from a week to week basis, we don't have a choice but to grow. And if you continue to come to the meetings and you continue to be in the group where we're discussing the 3-month or the 2-month order block, you're just going to kind of come into in alignment with looking at those higher time frame order blocks. And at some point, you're going to say, hey man, I remember the last 3-month order block we had for UJ was a bearish order block. And we're trading down from there. So once you understood that, right? You understood that we're trading down in January, you're going to be looking for areas where you can add another sell position. So you could have gotten several positions to sell once this thing started selling, right? And you understood what liquidity is. You understood that wick took liquidity on the daily because we've talked about that several times in this group. So you wouldn't have needed me. Maybe you would have had to ask me a couple of times because you got into a bind at one of your entries, and I would have said, "Hey man, well that trade is selling," and you'd have said, "Okay, I can just hold it." And if I got a bad entry right here, and price bought up here, I can just hold it because it's going to eventually turn into profit because I'm trading with this 3-month move. And over time, you're going to see that you don't have to have a huge lot size. You just have to have good entries.
Yeah.
And this will stop you from over leveraging and blowing accounts. And it might take some people 3 months to understand that, and other people 3 years, right? Because they're so greedy and they can't control themselves that they got to over leverage, and they keep blowing up accounts. And whereas somebody else comes in and they're putting smaller lot sizes in and they're just trading with the trend, and those smaller lot sizes add up. And since they don't blow accounts, they're growing their account faster than the person who's over leveraging.
I think I'm starting to see I'm struggling with stop losses and like hedging. Like I need to know, hey, this is not going for my analysis. Like the whole and seeing the bearish order block on the 4 hour and it closing below MA. And it's the whole like looking at higher time frames to see why that's happening. I
Well,
need to be okay with just closing at a loss and starting over.
that too, but
That's what's messing me up.
but if you're looking to the EN trade, your analysis and your stop loss can't be based off of a 4-hour chart. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like higher time frames is what I need to look into.
Right. So if you would, did you see the 3-week candle close?
I don't think I have that one.
Okay, that might be problematic. However, you're in a group that you have access to people who have these higher time frames. So at this point, um, now you just ask for more information. And if somebody like me could shoot you a chart to say, hey man, the 3-week candle close, I would wait for price to go above this old 3-week candle, which you could have looked over there and said, okay, the price needs to violate the 190.38 level. Then I can start looking for sales. If you had that basic understanding, and now you do going forward, everybody, the 19 people on this call understand your best trade setup is when price goes above the area that you're looking to sell from. And then once you get a sell signal above that area, it's probably the real deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the same thing if you're looking to buy. If you're looking to buy and you're down here, when price goes below this candle and gives you a 4-hour buy order block now, because it's below this level, now you're looking, okay, I'm good because liquidity has been taken, right? Liquidity has been taken. Now we can buy. It's the same. It's going to be the same concept on your trades and your time frames. You're waiting to see the liquidity get taken, then you're looking to enter your trade. And it's a little bit frustrating, right? But now, you know more now than you did 6 months ago. And you have to take those victories, right? It doesn't matter how many times I say, hey man, get in the demo, get in the demo. We're all gonna make our grown people decisions. Like people told me to get in the demo, and then then I spent 60K. Uh, so the point is, are you learning? Like, are you better today than you were 3 months ago?
Yes.
It's a yay or nay, right? Hey, Ty, man, you're a butthole when you teach. I get it, man. I was in the military for 20 years. It's not an excuse. It's just so you can understand where I'm coming from. Um, you know, my
Wait, I
goal
think,
is not to be
hey
y'all's drill
Todd,
sergeant. My goal is to try to bring y'all along for free, right? Um, this is free now. I'm going to ask you for a favor in 5 years. I'm going to ask you to go in with me and buy this building. I'm going to ask you to build community. I'm going to ask you to help in an orphanage or whatever the case may be. Like y'all laugh at me, but for you might be a Forex instructor online charging people $400 for a class. And then you might have something scheduled. Hey, Todd, can you teach in my Forex Academy while I go on vacation? So like y'all are looking at things very small. I'm not. I'm looking at things on a larger level. Not to say I'm better than y'all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, yeah,
The bigger
it
picture.
benefits me to teach you for free. It benefits me. It doesn't benefit me right now, but in 5 years, yeah. If I don't have to fill out a loan application, that's great. They might say, "Oh man, I don't want to give you a loan to buy a building in Salvador, Brazil. I don't want you to build no orphanage in Choco, man. Choco got all black people is not it's violent. It's not safe." That's what Bank of America might tell you that. I don't need to deal with Bank of America. So, y'all are looking at it at one way, and I do apologize if y'all get y'all's feathers ruffled. You know, I hear that a lot from Bebe. Bebe, maybe maybe I'm not uh I don't talk soft enough sometimes. But
You be ripping people apart,
listen,
though.
I get it, man. It's done out of love. I mean, you have to understand, like,
Jackass.
I I uh I brought this to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't find me. As a matter of fact, if we just being 100%, you could have been learning this when I was learning.
Yeah. I was too busy on my accountant world journey.
Hey, well, it is what
Not
it is.
no more.
Well, I mean, all I'm saying is
In
this,
my
man.
rear view.
Like, all of us as a group, we all have personalities, right? We might not all hang out with each other in real life. Like, we might not be the same political affiliation, but if we can make money, right? If we understand how to make money, uh, and we can all affect change in a positive manner. Like, maybe I want to buy a building for an orphanage, and TT don't care about that orphanage, but maybe
I
five
do care
other
about the
people.
orphanage.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe five other people do, and we do that. But all I'm saying is, like, the group is big enough, and the personalities are diverse enough where you can find one or two people that might be able to help you with a concept you don't understand, or with a project that you're working on, right? But if I don't try to bring everybody along, then my pool of people who are actually making money is very small. And now my ability to get things accomplished in the future is very small. But if I have 25 people who are making money, then I have a bigger pool of people where we can put our heads and our dollars together to grow our interest in wherever we're talking about growing our interest. And I'm not saying I have the best ideas or the best, I know the best opportunities. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, maybe Mike has the a best idea, and he has a good location and a good deal. And all he's asking for us to put together a pool of money, and we have an opportunity to make X number of dollars here. The fact that we're all in a group together and we all can make money increases the chances of us being able to make these moves in the future. Some of y'all like paying these US prices. I get it. Anywho, any other questions?